Is it?
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Yes, here we are, everyone. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to our thin texters joining us today, our Nutri-Monsters, people who want to get healthy, people who want to lose weight, people who have hidden long enough and they want to come back out to society. This is going to be good. Let me get everyone oriented. We are, of course, in New Jersey. You are where you are if you're watching us, and that could be theoretically anywhere in the world. We are all sharing this earth. We are part of the Milky Way. It is now August 29th. This is really the last week of summer because we are about to face
Unofficial.
Labor Day. And there are a lot of pressures that come along with Labor Day, aren't there? Things are changing. Things are not the same. Everyone pretends that they're a child during the summer, that there are no consequences. It's like being in Vegas for 2 months. But that is not necessarily reality. And a lot of people are about to face reality. So we are going to speak to that. Jackie, what are the challenges for you, being that Labor Day is coming up now?
Well, now I'm on day 9 of 8 of program,
So
something like
you're on the
that.
program.
So
Yes. Is that your only challenge?
program. Uh, no, you know what? It's if I wasn't on program, I would really feel on the fence where it's like, oh, all right, well, I have one more week left of summer. I'm not going to worry about everything I've done all summer. So let me just jump right in after. Let me just wait till the kids go back to school. Let me just wait and hold on to it and just eat everything in sight. It's my last hurrah. I have to. Let me
That's
just
right. You have to get it in.
my last barbecue ever until, it's a nice warm day in October. I have to eat everything in sight. So that would be my challenge. Right now, I'm feeling very confident and in control. So I don't feel like I have a challenge this
Okay,
weekend.
nice. Trish, how about you? What do you
Same.
find is challenging now about this end of August period?
Same kind of thing. Summer is ending and the last barbecue, which will not be because September is 90 degrees at times. But but I'm on program also. So for me, I was a little nervous about it, but I feel like I'm over the hump at that point. So I feel like it'll be kind of an easy peasy weekend.
It's kind of nice heading into a theoretically dangerous time when you have some
Right.
momentum, right?
Mhm.
Corinne,
Yeah.
what about you? I mean, getting your kids ready for school, isn't that a big deal? Isn't that a difficult, stressful thing?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, every single year during this time of the year, Brianna starts to cry, get weepy, get sad, and it's like, I don't want to go back to school.
Yeah.
I get like that too.
Meanwhile, I'm like,
Me too.
yes, go. No,
Celebrating.
no. So I mean, we have the challenges of all, like the kids are going to have their busy schedules again, and
True.
it's the challenges of managing all of that. I feel like for myself, like everybody's on program now. I know I'm going on program September 6th, so there's going to be planning and preparing for me, and knowing that I'm going on program and that I need to lose weight this weekend. I don't want to treat it as like, oh, I'm going to just eat everything in sight, because you really feel yucky when you do that. So although I'm going on program, I want to make a mental state of mind for myself that says like, don't eat gross, just remember to be honest with yourself and make better choices.
Right. Well, it's really a game that we play with ourselves, right? Because what changes from one day to the next? There's not that much that changes. We eat every day, don't we? There's
Right.
just this kind of FOMO that, oh my God, the summer is over and I got to get in my last licks and that kind of nonsense. But we know better than that, theoretically. But let me kind of conceptualize this for everybody, because for a lot of people, they have a certain momentum going. And it's momentum going in the wrong direction. They've been partying for a couple of months now, right? They've been enjoying barbecues and drinking. Some people are drinking too much. And now they're faced with the prospect, like I said, of coming back to reality. The kids are going back to school. They're going to see the other mothers. And they're not necessarily happy with their situation. So the question becomes, how do you reverse all that momentum? How do you turn around the aircraft carrier? And it is a challenge. Now, I have kind of a plan that I want to propose to people, but before I do, I just want to throw it out to you guys. How have you found in the past, or have you found any successful actions that help you turn around a momentum going in the wrong direction? Corinne, let's start with you.
So for me, the biggest action that I need is I need daily accountability, and texting a coach like you, Dr. R, which I'll start doing, is what's going to change everything for me,
So
because the
you've just
daily,
come to the conclusion that if you are left to your own devices, it is not going to happen.
absolutely not. Mm-mm.
Okay, got
It
it.
won't work.
Okay, that is valuable and important, and I'm going to speak to that a little bit momentarily. Trish, how about you? How do you turn around momentum? Because it's about weight loss, yes, but weight loss is never just about weight loss, right?
No.
This occurs in the rest of life. You know, we find ourselves in situations where we're going down the wrong path, and it's hard to get back to where we want to be,
Right.
especially with momentum. It's easier to start fresh. That's one thing. But to turn around this aircraft carrier, this train that's going downhill, the runaway train, what have you done that's been successful in the past, or have you?
So my turnaround for my bad momentum was just seeing a picture of myself, and that literally made me just stop
So
instantly.
you have to shock and horrify yourself if
Yes.
you want to change your
Yes, I was
momentum.
not happy. I thought I was doing great all summer, which I will. I will say I came off of program probably like in April, from the last round, and I was maintaining, but then you get a little fluffier each week, and then I saw a picture of myself, and I thought I was doing great, and then compared from then to April, I was like, oh, I'm really not doing so great. So that literally made me stop,
Realization.
and the next day jumped right in.
Yeah, but isn't that a shame in a way, though, that you have to get to the point where you are emotionally distraught before you can turn it around? Or is that just the impetus that you use?
Oh, I need a good snack. That was my snack.
You need a good smack in the face, right? You need
Yeah,
like
that was
cold
it.
water thrown on you.
Yeah.
The Swift
correct.
kick.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. How about you, Jackie?
I'm definitely not far off from Trish. I mean, it becomes a matter of I have to feel uncomfortable. I think that's really what it is, because the truth is you don't just wake up the next day and it's like, oh man, I put on 10 pounds since Tuesday. That's weird. Like, that's just not how it happens. It's not realistic. It becomes like, okay, I'm wearing a summer dress and like a flowy cover up. I feel nothing. And then all of a sudden 2 days later, I'm like, oh, we're going out. I'm going to put on jeans. And I'm like, whoa, that was a little rough getting those on. Or like you start to feel that discomfort. And once you start to feel comfortable, it's on my radar. So it's not necessarily, oh, I'm uncomfortable, let me jump in. I start to make little changes, but then what happens? I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing good today with no structure, because I need structure. That's me. I need to plan. I need it written down. I need it laid out in front of me. And then I'm like, oh, I'm doing good today. And I start on a Thursday. Look at me, I'm eating better. And Saturday comes and it's like, oh, I skipped breakfast, so it's okay to have a heavier lunch. And oh, I'm breathing here. And then you're full blown out of control. Monday comes, I still feel uncomfortable, maybe like you said, a little fluffier. And I'm like, oh, something's going on.
Jackie, let me suggest something, though. Isn't it a little dangerous about having to feel so uncomfortable before you'll take the actions that you need to take?
Yes, it is. And I think, and this is not to make an excuse, this is just how I felt at this time. I think, like Trish was saying, I had more good days than not so good days.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was maintaining for a while. I was making healthier choices. I'm still doing things better for myself than not. But they just weren't enough. I needed more. I needed more structure. So for me, it's not that I wanted to wait to feel that bad to do something. I genuinely did believe that I was doing better things than not. It just wasn't enough for what my body needs. So I jumped in on Monday.
Well, I want to say something. So it's very human, right, to be motivated basically by what we don't want, by pain. So it's not wrong. I don't want you to hear that that's wrong at all. We all do that. It's not the ideal situation.
No.
The good part about that it's a realization. It's a raising of awareness, because I'm going to submit that for the most part, by the time we acknowledge that we are uncomfortable, that we are unhappy, it's been happening for a while. It's just been we've been suppressing it, and it's been under the radar.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I want to suggest a plan to people. By the way, I hear someone yelling in the background.
Sorry, it might be my children. I told them to lower their volume. Hold on.
Okay.
You're supposed to go to school early. Send them in.
Is that the lowered volume? Like, I would be
Sorry,
really
guys.
impressed by the raised volume in that case.
But
but
Dr. R, can I just say something really quick?
Sure.
So for me, like Jack and Trish said that they were uncomfortable. I chose to be uncomfortable and sad about my weight for many, many years. And I felt helpless, and I felt like I could never do this. And,
Right.
you know, you have to really first realize that, one, you're not helpless. There are tools to support you and to help you, and use them. And don't be afraid to say, I need help. Because the moment we step out of our comfort zone and recognize and realize we need help is the first day change will start. And
Right.
that's what it started for me, is
Well,
when I started working for you guys, and I realized, well, I don't want to let Dr. R down. I don't want to let Jen down. And then I don't want to let Jackie down. And then I started losing the weight, and I was like, wow, I could do this. Like, I could really do this,
You know what you're saying, it has a lot of validity, and it's a good segue for what I was about to talk to, because I want to give people a plan, actual steps. And these steps are steps that they just are, right? It's not anything special, it's just how things work. So let me say this. Everything starts out with an idea. And sometimes the idea is, I want so-and-so. Like, I want to fit into size 4 jeans, or I want to look great when I go back to my reunion.
Right.
And sometimes the idea is, I don't want such and such.
Right.
And that can be even more powerful, right? I don't want to be on 3 different medications. I don't want to be the one that, people are pointing at the reunion because, I gained so much weight and I look like crap. But everything starts out with an idea. Now, the idea is not just enough, because like you were saying, you had this idea for a while. You had this awareness that you were not completely happy. You were honest with yourself, but you were able to kind of stew in it for a very long time. So there has to be an understanding of possibility. If your idea is that you're unhappy, you would love for things to change, but you don't see a path, that in of itself will stop a person. The second step after having this idea, and ideally, if you have an idea, it's not just like an idea that's floating out there in the ether, it's something specific, right? I really want to do such and such. But after that, it's important to communicate it. Anytime anything changes, anytime anything good happens, it happens first from an idea and then from a communication. So think about it. You want to build a building. You have an idea. You're going to build a 150-story tower in the center of Manhattan. Well, the next thing is you have to communicate it to an architect. So what I would tell people is, do not keep it inside. If you have this idea, communicate it. But somehow with weight loss, it's different. People just have this idea and they don't communicate it at all. They don't say, I want something to be different.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. These are the first 2 steps that are always, always, always necessary. You have to communicate it. And Corinne, what you were saying is right. If you communicate the fact that you want and you need help because you're not sure of the way, you're not sure of the path, that's important right there. Then something can really change, because there's nothing that anyone can do as an individual that they can't do better as a team.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So, does that sound right to everybody, what I'm saying now? Does that sound correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I want to add something else to it. And I want to just briefly tell the story of yesterday. We did a street fair. Trish and I did a street fair. We did it in Cranford.
Mhm.
And if you live in this country and you look around at any street scene, you're going to see a lot of people who are very overweight.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just part of being an American in the year 2022.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We know that about 70% of American adults are overweight or obese. 70%. It's crazy. It's out of control. And looking around, people were walking around and people were, buying their fried dough or their lobster rolls or what have you. And we were set up, and some people came over and we had some conversations, but very often the people who definitely should have come over did not. And I was questioning, like, why are these people not running over to us? Why are they not sprinting and begging?
Confront.
Partly, but here's a problem. And this is a problem for people out in the street. This is a problem for some of our clients. The problem is accepting of bad conditions. Too many people are accepting of bad conditions, whether it's a dirty car, a low income, or their weight. They just sit with it. They just accept it.
Yeah.
So another thing that's needed, step number 3, after we talked about an idea, I don't even know that it's step number 3. It might be step number 1, right? Demand. The opposite of accept is demand. We have to demand that something be different, demand that something be better. Acceptance is death. It's not okay to accept things that are going to lead to a bad situation. And I think this idea of demand, we request, like we'll ask the universe, we'll wish, but where's the demand?
Mhm.
That has to be present. Do you guys have a demand to lose weight, to look great, to feel great? Is that
Yes.
demand present?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, good. Then it will be so. You have the demand, you have the path, and you have me riding your asses.
This is true. This is true. 9:58. Text me. He's like, I was like, I'm sorry.
So, am I the only one who sees this, though? Am I the only one? And by the way, nothing that we say is an indictment of people. Because we all do this, right? And it kind of takes like a shift of reality and a raising of awareness to realize, hey, I've been accepting like crap.
Yeah.
That has to change. So do you see that also in people, that they are just too willing to accept conditions that should be unacceptable?
I do. I mean, I think that, and I'm obviously guilty of being a part of that, right? Being late to start or letting myself fall off that train, right? So I did the program, what is it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I was riding on a high. I was like, oh my gosh, like I could not believe it was the first time ever, because I've always rode that roller coaster. My weight's always fluctuated. It's always gone up and down. I've always been super active, but stagnant. It was always tough for me to lose weight until I found out what was really not working for me that I thought was, right? And back to what Dr. R was saying, the truth is, if anybody thought they could just do it on their own without accountability, like Corinne says, then none of us would have a weight loss problem. Nobody, a weight problem rather. Nobody would be unhealthy. If we didn't need accountability or support in some way, then everybody would be a perfect picture of health. And
But the first place that support and accountability has to come from is internally.
Exactly. So I think for me, it's definitely mind, body, soul connection. So it's that mindset. Not so much just physically what you're seeing, but inside your body, what you're feeling. What are you getting out of this? Will you be happier, thinner, healthier? It's not just about the actual look, because there are many people, we've discussed this, what a number is. What's your ideal weight? I don't really know. I can't say that this is my ideal number, because I don't know if look and feel the way I want to look with that number.
Right,
So
but
I
you
think
could
it has to
right,
be the
you could say the
trifecta.
ideal situation though.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
think it has to be that trifecta. You have to feel it on all 3 levels
Mhm.
to be successful, to get to that point. I don't
Mm.
think it'll just happen like, okay, you know what? I have to lose 50 pounds. I have a family reunion in 6 months and I just have to do this to be 50 pounds lighter. I don't think long term your success will be the same.
Yes.
You know,
Well, that begs another question though, Trish.
Mhm.
What do you think happens? Because we have this idea of demand, and we do see where people will go from acceptance to actually demanding that something be different and better, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned a scenario, a wedding. If there's a wedding come up, you will absolutely demand of yourself that you
Oh,
lose
yeah.
weight. It
Yep.
is so unacceptable to
Mhm.
take pictures that are going to be around forever, right?
Sure.
And to have other
Yeah.
people see you there and to be
It's sure.
ashamed. So
And you
so
become
demand
desperate.
does happen, right? We do
Yeah.
get into that demand mindset, but then very often it wanes quickly. So Trish, why do you think that happens? Why does demand wane over time?
And does it be, I don't know if it's more of like you become just comfortable in that place, or um, maybe you get a touch of happiness and you feel better and you just are, okay, great, I'm here. You don't think that you can go on any further,
Mhm.
So I think it becomes more of like a comfortable situation. You're comfortable, you're happy where you're at, and then, I'm okay right here. And then
Right.
you don't look beyond that there's more and better if you just keep going.
Right. I think I made this point to you guys the other day. Uh, Everyone's a great player, and everyone demands of themselves when it's fourth quarter, 2 minutes to go in the game, and you're down a touchdown, right? But it's the
Mhm.
great players who act like that when it's the first quarter of the first game of the season,
Right.
Yep.
right? The Tom Brady's, the
Mhm.
Michael Jordans. I mean,
Kobe
this is
Bryant.
how, and this is the difference between them and us. This
Yeah.
is why a Warren Buffett is a millionaire, or a billionaire rather, and most of us aren't. How do you create, and I'm looking at this stuff, I mention this stuff and then I try to operationalize it for myself and for others. And by the way, that's good news for everyone who is watching, because I am working on tools to help people with mindset, to help people get in that right frame of mind so they don't have to wait until they just, are sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Right.
to help people create
Mhm.
their own epiphanies. I actually am working on that to operationalize it. I will be experimenting on my staff, which they always love. The staff first, myself and the staff first, right? But
Human guinea
how
pigs.
how do we become players like that, to where it's always desperately important, to where we're always demanding of ourselves, we're not waiting until the game is almost lost? This is a
It,
question. Any ideas come up?
so it's funny that you say that because I'm in the middle of reading all these books that Jackie introduced me to for like it's like the game of mental toughness.
Mhm,
And one of the things that it always says is that you have to be willing to do more than the person next to you.
mhm.
So for example,
I
like
don't know
with
if that's
health and
true, by the
wellness.
way, but go on, and then I'll argue with it.
So I was gonna say, so for example, with health and wellness, like one of the things that we as an organization have to do, which I think we're doing well, is we have to find ways to eat food that tastes good and trick your mind, for example, to make it think it's like a sweet food. If you're craving, something sweet, or, if we're craving something, find our way to eat something that satisfies us without feeling the need to always go towards a sugary substance or, like a bag of chips. So, for example,
Sure.
um,
Find a healthier behavior, right?
yeah,
But
we
let's
have
get
to
back
we
to
have
this
to
idea.
substitute that behavior.
Yeah, let's get back to this idea, though, of having to do more than the person next to you. Why?
Well, like for sports, for example, if you do more than the person next to you, if you do 1% better every day, right, then you should
Right.
be 1% better for the whole entire year. And if you do the math, then you're 352 days You know what I mean? Like you're 352% better.
Understood. So there is something to be said for that, right? But obviously, when we're talking about something like weight loss, we
But even
don't
in weight loss,
we don't have to compare ourselves to the person that next to us. What if the person next to you is Giselle Bundchen?
but imagine, Dr. R, if you were 1% better every single day,
Well,
whether it
I get
be,
it, but that's
imagine
you
what you would be.
against yourself. That's not you against
Yeah.
some outside competition. Now, if it helps you to play that game in your head that you're going to compete against that son of a man and you're not going to lose, if that helps you, then go for it.
Well,
Right? Yeah,
so well, to
Jackie.
touch on the books that she's referencing are actually for our children. It's Mental Toughness for Young Athletes. So it's just teaching them structure where it's not attacking their self-confidence and building them up. So it was, but I get what she's trying to say. There was actually a quote that I came across this morning early that I felt like you have to kind of dig deeper within yourself. Like you should be your own competition, essentially. Weight loss is a constant, although it's a lifestyle, there's always going to be an opportunity to make a better decision. So even if you're a vegan, if you do keto for your entire life, or if you omit red meats, or whatever your preference is, there's always going to be some sort of challenge against what you do naturally, because we're just surrounded by, it's a melting pot, right? We are surrounded by so many different experiences. So with that being said, like this particular quote, and this is for just digging deeper, I wake up today with strength in my heart and clarity in my mind that gives me the ability to make good decisions throughout my day. The truth is, for yourself, you have to genuinely believe that everything that you're doing is for you, for the better, for the good. What you're doing is not a punishment by omitting unhealthy foods. Oh, I'm skipping the bread for my burger. Oh, I didn't get French fries at McDonald's and I'm starving out and I'm miserable that I'm eating a salad. It's not a punishment. It's not. You have to realize that what you're doing is rewarding yourself for the greater good, for a larger picture, for your goals. You have to really dig deep to realize that you're doing this it's not just about the look. It's not just about how someone's going to see you. It's about doing it for yourself. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. This is the only body you have right now. If that's what you believe. You come back, who knows? But this is your body now. How do you want to live your life?
Right. And I don't like the idea with weight loss. I don't like the idea of force of will.
No,
Because I feel like, right, if you're doing it with just sheer willpower and gritting your teeth, you don't want to be there.
No.
And eventually you're gonna start to make different decisions.
No.
The decision ultimately, even if it doesn't start out this way, but the decision to be healthy and the actions that you take in order to be healthy should be decisions that you want to make because you're aiming towards something. And ideally, and this is an ideal, and we're not always there. Ideally, the process should be enjoyable in and of itself without anything else. And whatever that means to a given individual, but the process of building health. So that might mean convincing yourself that you enjoy the lettuce or the spinach, or it might be just the feeling that you get while you're eating unhealthy food, knowing that it's another building block to becoming a better you, and knowing and the feeling of being in control of yourself. This is an idea that I mentioned, I think, last week. Ownership of self. A lot of people have just abandoned ownership of self. And that has everything to do with acceptance, like we were talking about, because they just accept that they are not, I should probably speak in third person. We sometimes accept that we are not in ownership of ourselves and what comes into our body and what comes into our lives. Whereas in fact, we are in complete ownership. And sometimes we just hide from that fact. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. I think that's a good note to end, unless there's something that you guys want to say that just cannot wait. Okay, you'll submit it to me in writing, and then I could always just disseminate it out to everybody. How's that?
Yeah, I don't think there's
Huh?
anything like.
That's not writing. Okay, go
Fine.
ahead.
No, I'm just saying, jumping in, I have to say thank you for putting it out there, because jumping in, now I'm looking ahead that now next Tuesday for me, I'm like, that's more than 2 weeks in. So I'm
Yep.
super happy because I'm down 7 pounds already. Just saying.
Wow, Jack. There
Yeah.
you go.
I was very happy.
Okay,
Very,
awesome.
very happy.
So
Sense of control.
we're all going to keep this up, because again, the journey does have bumps. There is going to be rainy days where it's not possible to get very far, but as long as we remain on this journey, we ultimately will get to the end. And actually, with this journey, there really is no end. There's just a series of places that you get to, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no end to getting healthier. So that's going to be it for today, and we will see everybody next week.
Yep.
All right, bye,
Bye.
guys.
Have a great
Long
week.
weekends.